on, Whovians? You look like a room full of people about to meet one of the greatest casts I've ever met. Yeah! Thank you all so much for being here today. I am so delighted. Welcome to the official Doctor Who podcast. We're going to be bringing you this very special episode recorded live from the heart of Comic-Con 2024 at the San Diego Central Library. Say hello, San Diego Comic-Con. Welcome to wherever you are listening around the world. My name is Krystina Arielle. I'm your stateside host, U.S. correspondent, and huge Doctor Who fan. Now, I may be new to you, but I am not new to Doctor Who. Doctor Who is the show that I cry to, it's the show that I laugh to, and it's the show that I go to when I just need to make sure I can feel. And it is absolutely an honor to be able to share this experience with all of you. And in this special episode of the official Doctor Who podcast, we're going to be taking the opportunity to dive right into the huge season 1 that we've just seen launched onto our screens on Disney Plus and BBC iPlayer in the UK. But to do this, we need some guests. Now, I am joined by 3 very special guests, and it does not get more special than these guys. So first, please welcome the man who brought the show back. Ooh, look at that music. I hear that ambiance. Please welcome the man who brought the show back in 2005 to critical success. He introduced us to the 9th and 10th Doctor, created companions like Rose Tyler, Martha Jones, and Donna Noble. Now he's returned to bring us the dreamy TARDIS team. Welcome showrunner Russell T Davies. Next up, we have the most important show in the characters format. The eyes and ears for us, the fans, and the audience. You don't have a doctor without a companion. Please welcome the latest addition to the Companions Wall of Fame, the legend of Movie Sunday herself, Millie Gibson! And finally, the man himself, the man with many lives and many faces, but currently, he's got a really good one. We're not gonna talk about the fashion sense, because he's slayed. Listen, he could slay all the monsters in the galaxy with that fashion sense, but he's here to slay your hearts and entertain you and talk with us today. It's the Doctor! Give it up there, Ncuti Gatwa! Guys, welcome to San Diego Comic-Con.
Thank you.
Now, yesterday was your first Hall H experience together. Please, what was it like? Now, Russell, you were here in 2009, correct?
I was here with a young man called David Tennant, but never mind him. That's the past. It's all in the past, which was amazing. This whole Comic-Con grows and grows and grows, but the joy of sitting in it yesterday, seeing you two, for the first time, experienced that was wonderful.
Yeah.
Was it insane?
It was insane.
Yeah.
Beautiful experience. 6,000 people, my God.
Yeah, the room didn't stop. We were just kind of like, oh my God.
Went on forever.
Yeah.
But you're our favourites, obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
I think at one point I saw Millie going,
Yeah.
It's literally like,
just to
when
make
does it
sure.
end?
Now, I don't think I have snow in this panel, but Millie is here, so you never know what's going to happen. Now, we have an amazing season to talk about. We've all watched it. Because if not, Spoilers.
Who hasn't? Who hasn't watched it?
Raise your hand.
We're
Anyone?
in the wrong room.
Now, if you haven't yet watched season 1 of the new Doctor Who, we're going to get into spoiler territories here. If you're listening, please pause this, go watch season 1 of Doctor Who immediately on the BBC iPlayer in the UK, and Disney Plus where available, then come back here. So let's start with the intro to it all. The church on Ruby Road. Now, the first story in the Doctor and Ruby's adventure and the opening bookend of this story start and end on Ruby Road. Russell, can you tell us the story of how Ruby started and how did you approach creating this brand new companion?
Yeah, you just need a good story, and I knew that before I came onto Doctor Who, my predecessor, Chris Chibnall, had introduced the fact that the Doctor was not a Time Lord, is an adopted Time Lord, which is therefore a Time Lord, but that he had a mysterious, but he was a foundling. And I liked that, and I kind of thought, well, what if the companion had a similar history? At the same time, there's a British show called Long Lost Family. It's no accident that Davina McCall, the television presenter, is in that episode because she inspired it. Because I used to, and for the first time, when you're a foundling, you're left or abandoned as a baby with no mother, no father. And so for the first time in history, DNA testing can trace foundlings, which is a revolution in your personal history. And it's revolutionizing the finding of parents and stuff. So I thought that was, no matter what, I thought, what a great story. I thought, imagine if you put that into Doctor Who.
Yeah.
So there's Ruby with a one. I also, do you know what? As I get older, more and more of my friends foster and adopt, and those people are lifesavers. Those people are saints. They really are. It's the most astonishing thing to do. So just in life, no matter what I would have written next, Krystina, it would have had that in it in some shape or form, because I was just becoming more and more fascinated by it. And still am. So put all that together and it all sort of coalesces into
And Millie, what are your memories of first reacting to the story of Ruby?
Oh, I went to see the Foundling Museum in London before we went for, I went for my recall to see Russell, and you guys, I know, I really researched this part. And I just remember being heartbroken and seeing the things in the museum. It was like little buttons of like the kids that they came with to this museum. It was just beautiful, just like the intricate detail. And yeah, the journey of her life is just, I mean, gripping, of course, because all you guys are interested in it, but it was really cool to act as well. And I didn't know who her mother was going to be, and I didn't until the end, so that was equally as heartbreaking, but as uplifting for her too. So yeah, it was beautiful.
And I think it was really powerful too, just the connection. We talked about the themes of abandonment within this episode. The Doctor has his issues. The Doctor also causes some abandonment issues. No shade, just tea. Now, Ncuti, your first appearance was in The Giggle. What was it like filming your Doctor's first adventure?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Alongside David Tennant. Incredible. So much fun. Was so nervous. But I'd been raring to go because the announcement was a year before? Or was it in the same year?
May 2021.
May 20.
There were leaks from the set of the filming of that, and then that slowly but surely came out about the next year.
There was quite a time, anyway, from like filming from when I was cast. So I was like chomping at the bit, ready to go.
Yeah.
And I had David there to like guide me through it all. But it was like what, I'm about to be the Doctor. Can you imagine? It was like, this is just insane. It's incredible. Neil Patrick Harris as well. I was just surrounded by incredible talent. But it was all a blur, very much a blur. It was just like the game of catch.
That was a fantastic game, but listen, I have to ask. With this episode and walking around just like... I'm trying to be respectful, people. What was it like to just step into those shoes, like to know in that moment, like, you're the Doctor?
Mad, completely mad. I think it was the first time I saw the TARDIS, the two TARDISes standing beside each other. I was like, oh my God, one's mine and one's David's. We've all got our own TARDIS. This is so lovely.
Yeah.
It's an emotional mess and a blur and crazy.
And how long did you go, ha, 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 ha? Was it stuck in your head as it was stuck in mine?
Get out, Neil, get out. No,
The man's a magician. So next we move on to Space Babies. This story sees Ruby jumping aboard the TARDIS for the first time. Russell, how long had you had the two words in your brain? Space babies.
Babies. I was born saying space babies. It's just one of those ideas. Once you have an idea that says there's a baby farm run by babies, then you just can't let go. It's just, and actually it's a funny episode, that one, because it's like, hello, you can't see me there. Hello, hiya. They're managing it out. It's fine. In that, I mean, I love that story, but actually the whole episode is a conversation between the Doctor and Ruby. Yeah. It's 45 minutes of you. You get split up at the end when you have to run and stop jostling and you're stuck in the airlock, but that's like 2 minutes. It's like the entire thing is, hello, this is the TARDIS. Let's meet some dinosaurs. Let's go to the future. Oh, there's some babies. We have to help the babies. How long are we staying? You know, but she says, are we staying for 10 years?
Yeah.
What's going on? How does it work? Then you have to do the right thing. You can't kill the monster. You have to save the monster. So, and then at the end of which is, do you want to come with me? So actually the whole thing is actually two people getting to know each other, and it's a great privilege to be able to write something like that for prime time. And you two were just brilliant in it. It's like, there was a lot of that in the audition, wasn't there, with the two of you? It was kind of a hybrid Space Baby script, do you remember? It was
Yes. We
a lot of those scenes put together, because it's what it's all about, you two.
And you had this.
No.
And there was a great butterfly effect tying back even into 73 yards. Like we see that kind of like Ruby steps on the butterfly and it's like, oh, that's nonsense. And it's something that we will return to later in this conversation. But I do think it's very important to kind of see how they evolved, and also learning that Ruby does not like to be called Rubes. I thought that was really that was important.
Don't call me Rubes.
Like Covered in Bogan is like, don't call me Rubes. Now, Ncuti, what was it like working with the babies? Specifically Captain Poppy. Specifically Captain Poppy.
Captain Poppy's
Oh
amazing.
my gosh, the cutest kid
She's
in the world. Star.
And she knew it.
She knew. Better actor than all of us.
Yeah.
She was so reactive, and
She
I was like, can you
was.
understand what I'm saying? What is this? It was a baptism of fire. Was working with the babies. It was like, this is welcome to the madness of Doctor Who. It'll be another crazy adventure next week. But they put us through our paces. The babies.
Yeah.
Took a lot of time and control, but they were so adorable that you couldn't. The cuteness fueled us.
And the mothers.
And the
baby had
mothers.
a mother. It was a
Were they
busy
on the
set.
sets to kind of like help you
Yeah.
kind of like make sure in eye line?
All the time.
Yeah. And to stop them from crying, we were like, get Kathy back in.
Maybe I had a scene where you had to do this beautiful monologue. And
Yeah, this beautiful monologue that got cut. Where basically, I had to talk to these babies, of course, about, you know, Ruby's upbringing and how she was abandoned. It was really beautiful. But obviously, their stage direction was to be completely entranced by me. And they weren't. For some unknown reason. And I had to get a nursery rhyme on my phone just to get them to look at me. And it was like, what am I doing right now? This is bizarre. But yeah, no, so yeah, that's probably why I got cut.
Your entire monologue could have been Baby Shark. Now, this was your first space adventure. So what was that like for you, especially getting to work with Golda Roosevelt?
Oh, Golda. Oh, she was just, Yeah, she's lovely, and she was a burst of energy. I mean, it was just so cool to act with her and to see. I mean, I watched her in Bridgerton, so it was cool to see her be this Jocelyn Sancerre character, and she played a blinder with it. But yeah, I love that adventure. It's as bonkers as it looked as it was playing it. But yeah, I mean, what a way to start your experience at Doctor Who.
Felt like stepping into properly, that one, because it was like, we're in space, we're in a spaceship. It felt like sci-fi-y.
Yeah.
She was called Sancerre because that's a white wine, and I imagine she just sat in that room and drank. 5 years. I mean that. I said that. They said, don't put that in the script.
And Ncuti, that's one of the first times that we see your character kind of grappling with this thing that the Doctor always has to deal with, this being the last, this feeling of loneliness, and being in a position where you have to make this decision about saving a life and what that means.
Yeah.
Like, how, as an actor, how do you approach that?
One of the kind of beautiful elements of the Doctor that I picked up from previous Doctors is that they have this sense of everything is important in the universe and everything kind of has its place. And it's just full of compassion. I don't know. It was one of that bit in the script was like, this is informative as to who 15 is for me. Yeah, so it's just like, he's a nice guy. He was like, I'm going to save this monster. Yeah.
It plays into that, a line from the Doctor. In 900 years, I've never met anyone who wasn't important before. And you convey that in a very special way.
Hopefully. It's all in the script.
In my personal opinion. This does not represent the opinions of BBC or no Britannia.
It does.
And now we get to talk about the Devil's Cord. So, in true Doctor Who fashion, we dive back in time to the swinging 60s London, where we meet the Beatles and the evil maestro. Evil is subjective, I just want to say that. Now, Ncuti and Millie, singing, dancing, costumes, twist. Like, what was this episode like to film for you? It looks so fun.
It was
Incredible.
fun.
Yeah, so much fun.
Fun.
I mean, we were filming Rogue at the exact same time, so we were just flipping between 2 decades. Yeah, that was in one section.
Oh, yeah.
So we were learning. So we were learning the waltz and the twist at the same time.
It was Ben. It was all Ben.
It was all Ben, yeah.
Yeah,
It's always a twist, y'all.
Were you there?
No.
So yeah, as you can imagine, equally mad. And I remember when that block was coming up, everyone was like, "Oh God, that block's gonna be crazy," and it was magical. We had so much fun.
From that first costume fitting,
Yes.
we had a whale of a time. And then Jinx came in, blew us away in
Now that's, you want to talk about perfect casting.
I know.
Yeah.
Like, how do you dream up an amazing character like Maestro, and how much did you write Maestro particularly for Jinx?
Well, not exactly, because Maestro was created because I think the Doctor gets better the better the enemy is, and I wanted to take that small step into fantasy as opposed to science fiction, which Doctor Who's always done. It's just a small step, and especially knowing that the third episode was going to be hard science fiction, and so I just wanted to write something colossal and huge. I mean, again, the whole episode is a conversation between the Doctor and Ruby. It was also, just to bear in mind, I knew we had episodes coming up in which Ncuti was still filming Sex Education, and so we'd have slightly less Doctor in a couple of episodes. So it kind of gets missed, I think, the fact that these first 2 episodes and a lot of episode 3 are just you two. Just you two. You don't cut away to any subplots. No one else has got anything else going on, apart from little fleeting moments. It's just the 2 of you talking your way through the story and talking your way through what Doctor Who is, which I love because you're so brilliant. And so therefore we want a huge enemy to face that. And with Jinx, it's like I'm lucky because I do know Jinx. I know Jinx's husband, and I was actually kind of talking to Michael on the night that they met, and I went to their Zoom wedding during the lockdown. So it was like, and I gave a speech about Doctor Who because during lockdown they sat and watched Doctor Who. Michael showed Jinx the whole of Doctor Who. Jinx loved it, and so I gave a sort of Doctor Who speech on the wedding. I had a little model TARDIS. I was like going, go around the world and find love. It's a running theme. So I also know that with a very popular performer like that, a performer and actor, you need to book them well in advance. So Jinx was kind of booked You two were booked, then Jinx, straight away. Like almost 6 months in advance, because she's all over the place doing shows, and now on Broadway and stuff like that. And obviously sent it to her and she grabbed it. So what joy, what joy.
And in Chicago.
Absolutely. Just done Little Shop of Horrors. Amazing.
Oh, it was a fantastic episode. There's always a twist will be stuck in my head for the rest of my life. So please know you ate that. So now that we've talked about a delightful, fun-filled romp, let's talk about Boom. We're going to spend an entire episode on a landmine because Stephen Moffat wrote this episode. Stephen Moffat likes to break your heart. Now, Ncuti and Millie, this seemed like a very intense episode to film. You stood on a landmine, and you were all in one location.
That's by the end of the first week. That set was giving us such PTSD.
You were on one leg for like 2 weeks.
One leg, 2 weeks. I had one very strong glute. After that episode, amazing to film though, like because of the intensity. It felt like we say often that it felt like rehearsing a play because we shot it in chronological order. It was all in one place. It felt like we were in the round because it was like crater. So intense. Stephen's scripts are just incredible. Like I didn't understand it.
I had to read it like 5 times.
And then it came out and I was like, wow, this is beautiful. This is incredible. Capitalism, down with it. Amazing to film. Absolutely, just so intense and
Yeah, you have
so
a
much to get
casket in your
teeth into.
hand. It was very intense. And scaly. Defined, if you will. Now, Russell, this episode used technology that Doctor Who's never used before. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, that was the lot of the background of the planet was one of those huge LED screens, which you're science fiction fans, Star Wars is using the volume a lot and stuff like that. We can't quite afford the volume, but it's a step towards it. It's the most vast LED screen which moves with the camera. It's very beautiful and sophisticated. And a lot of people, marvelous man called Billy, who was a huge Doctor Who fan who works for Pixamondo, spent months designing those clouds in the background.
Incredible.
Aren't they beautiful? The colour of those skies.
Yeah.
Even the background of the TARDIS, when they step out the TARDIS, is part of the flat screen. It's hard to understand in a way, isn't it? It's if you see the Doctor Who Unleashed behind the scenes of that, it shows you how it's done. And it's what Doctor Who should always do. Way back in time in history, in 1981 or something, there was a Tom Baker story called Meglos, where Tom Baker played a giant cactus. And Meglos, we love Meglos. And at the time, that was in very simple video technology, that used a thing called scene sync, where some people step out of a spaceship and walk over to these giant screens on an alien planet, and so the camera moves with them. That was the very first time that had ever been done. And if you see that now, it looks very simple. But that's what Doctor Who was always doing. Doctor Who was one of the first to use green screen, full stop. In 1970, John Pertwee was fighting dinosaurs, and they were put in with green screen. So, so everything you see being done now, amazing. Those early pioneers, it's always been a pioneering show, so no matter what's happening in technology, we have to kind of run to keep up, and hopefully we'll keep running.
And why is it so important to you that Doctor Who pushes boundaries and stays up to speed with how the show is filmed?
I get jealous when I see what's happening on the other shows, because I think Doctor Who deserves the best. It's as simple as that. But I do, and when you see, and obviously nothing is better than a good idea. Nothing's more important than that. The good story is the point. But when you're doing that, actually, it's a tough world now. You're on streaming. There's all these shows. You watch The Acolyte and stuff like that, and The Boys, and these brilliant shows. I love these shows, and I never want Doctor Who to be a kind of poor cousin to that. So I'll always keep pushing to try and do that, while absolutely saying that, not one of those shows could produce an episode like Blink, for example, which. Or even, Bessie, but it was 73 yards. That didn't cost much.
Speaking of 73 yards, we get an episode where the Doctor disappears, and we see a version of Ruby's entire life and hairstyle trajectories plays out. Millie, you give such a phenomenal performance. For this to be your first episode, how was it to tackle something of that nature?
It was crazy, to be honest. I mean, I just finished Coronation Street, which is a very big ensemble cast. So to come from that onto this, and it just to be like, okay, you're getting your own episode. It was like, oh, we're shooting. So, yeah, I know you were
Riding a bike
riding
with
a
Otis.
bike. And yeah, I remember reading 73 Yards, and I talk about this all the time. I was just absolutely absorbed and transformed into the world that was Russell's scripts. But yeah, it was incredible. I reread it straight again because it was just the most capturing thing I've ever, and I was like, how am I going to be 40? So that was the first thought. But I watched that episode back and was just, yeah, I was really chuffed. I was really happy with it.
Spellbinding.
Thank you, baby. Thank you.
And it plays again into that theme, like Ruby's greatest issue has been being abandoned her entire life, and we're placed into this position where she now feels, in a way, abandoned by the Doctor, even though that's not the intention of it. So just, do you think that that added another layer for you to that performance?
Yeah, for sure. It was really weird because I hadn't played with the Doctor yet, so I was a bit like, how do you play Lost that you don't know what you've lost? So it was a hard one to judge, but rewatching it actually all worked because that was the bit I was very much like, is this even going to look right by the time me and Shoots act together? And it did, so it was really nice. Yeah, so yeah, I really liked it.
I like the chorus of Shoots that just rang out.
Sorry.
You said Shoots, and the audience goes, Shoots, Shoots, Shoots. So I look forward to seeing all the tweets later about Shoots. Now, Russell, this was such a departure of the usual Doctor Who episode. Was this a story you've wanted to tell for some time?
Well, I think Doctor Who should always depart from the... It does. It's always been very different every week. And I really wanted to do a series in which that was especially true. Wildly different every week. And it's funny, this is an idea I'd had for a long while. I don't think I've ever told you this. But I could never make it work because I thought it was with the two of you. I spent years in my head trying to get a story where the Doctor and the companion and a woman stood at 73 yards, so they were like triangulating each other. But it was really hard to... I would have got there in the end. But it was like, you'd say, well, go and look. So the woman would move. It probably was impossible with two people, so it had ticked away even before I knew I was coming back to Doctor Who, in a way, as an idea of like, what if that happens? And then, not that we were glad to be rid of you, but then you were busy. Then you were doing sex education. So the moment they said, oh my God, the dates aren't working, so Shoot, you have to do sex ed, you have to do one episode with Ruby on her own. I went, oh my God, it works. It's like, 73 yards, you just need one person. I'd never thought of that. And then suddenly I went, blah, 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 and then we were so glad you came back.
That was exceptional.
You deserve every bit of flowers. It was a tremendous episode, and you just conveyed
Just
it.
turned 18 as well.
Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah. That is amazing.
Playing 40.
We didn't make you play the 80-year-old.
Yeah.
That
was going to happen, though. And
We
then
talked
they were
about
like,
it.
Yeah.
We were like...
And they were like, I think this is too far.
The hair did a lot of the work. It was doing a lot of heavy lifting.
No, I was really feeling myself. I thought it was great. Yeah.
Oh, that long, like Ruby at 35 and 40? I was like, this is the length. I like this.
Yeah.
We now get an episode set in the world of Fine Time, where everything is far from fine. Everyone is living in their dot and bubbles, singing Itsy Bitsy Teeny Weeny. Where did that come from? Why Itsy Bitsy Teeny? I'm gonna go straight there. Why Itsy Bitsy Teeny Weeny Yellow Polka Dot Bikini?
I've got a list of pop songs that will drive you mad, and I'm not a third of the way through. It's fine, don't worry. Keep them coming.
Listen, you got me with the Proclaimers for years. Now we're back with this. Okay, here we go. Now, Russell, there are a lot of themes in this episode that are very present in the world today, particularly race and social media. Now, how important is it that Doctor Who reflects back these themes in its storytelling, especially given that we are seeing a new experience and lived experience of the Doctor that he has never known before?
Absolutely. I thought that had to be looked in the eye in the script. Everyone was kind of expecting a story about racism to happen in the past. like what will happen in 1600, what will happen in 1800. And I thought, well, like we're rid of that problem now. So I very much wanted to do that. And it's how it's just how I write. It's how Doctor Who should always be. You look at Space Babies and they're worrying about, actually, which is some pro-choice problems in there, and you look at what Stephen Moffat says about warfare and in episode 3. So no, I think the programme at its best is, and what we're talking about with adoption, foster care, with Ruby, it's like, if you're writing well, I think those things just rise up. But you know, it's so I did think it was important in that one instance to stare at this, absolutely.
I appreciate that it wasn't heavy-handed, it was honest. And we kind of, upon the rewatch of the episode, when you go back and you catch the microaggressions are very, very strong. And like Lindy, like Callie delivered that in a way where when I went back and watched it, I was like, what did I do to you? It's like, I didn't do nothing to you. But you just kind of see the way, just like deleting the doctor instantly, knocking him out of that scenario, and just treating his existence as if it's a nuisance when he's just trying to help. Now, seeing Callie perform as Lindy, and she leads the interview, she's in every scene of this episode. How is it for you all to kind of sit back and watch her kind of command this episode?
She was amazing.
Incredible. We did all our stuff in one day on an auto. What is it? What do you call it?
Auto cue.
Auto cue. Pretending to talk to Find Time, and it was lovely. We had a few days off. So, it was great. But she led that episode so beautifully, and she's so good at being Lindsay. I was entranced by that episode with her lead in it.
The background
it's a
colors were
difficult
fantastic.
job
It was
because
difficult.
you can't give away the beast before like that final scene, and so like she has so much complex stuff to portray. She killed it. Killed it.
It was a fantastic episode. Thank you all for that. And now we can talk about the Rogue. We arrive in the world of Bridgerton with Tony Award winner Jonathan Groff Indira Varma and cosplaying aliens. Now, Russell, for this episode, we have a new writing duo, Kate Herron, a fellow showrunner of a time-traveling show, Loki, and Briony Redmond. Now, how did this come about? Can you tell us if there's any writers you'd love to work with on Doctor Who in the future?
Oh, so it came out, it's such a long story, I'll try and condense it down. I accidentally criticized Loki for its representation of bisexuality. What I mean is I didn't make a press release. I was talking to a bunch of students on a Zoom in Swansea University. You think that's a private conversation. It gets put online. You think I'd learn that by now, wouldn't you? That was stupid of me not to. So then it looks like I was making a statement saying I didn't think their portrayal of bisexuality was very good. And I stand by that. I don't think it was. And of course that then hits the headlines. And so I've never met Kate in my life. And then she gets asked about it in every single interview. It's not her fault. And it reached the stage where like the reporter from Variety at a premiere was saying, so, Kate, we're super keen to know your answer to why Russell T Davies is criticizing you. And I was so embarrassed. I don't know what accent that was. And I was so embarrassed, I wrote to her. I found her agent, and I wrote to her and said, I'm so sorry if I'm causing you any... Work is busy, isn't it? Who needs me going, yap, yap, yap? And so I'm sorry if I caused you any hassle. She wrote back, and she was delightful, and then turned out to be a Doctor Who fan. And then I said, so will you come and write one? She said, yes, my writing partner's Bryony, and we ended up with the most... So out of a strange conflict, the most gorgeous creation came.
She DM'd me and was so excited that you had reached out. And
yes, because she worked on Sex Ed. With, in fact, no one knew you were the Doctor at the time, so I secretly told her, and she was so delighted. Did she? Yeah.
Now we are starting to wind down a little time, but I do have some fan questions that I really would like to get to that we are bringing in from all over the world. All right. How does it feel now that the series is out there and you don't have to keep a bunch of secrets?
Good, hallelujah.
Oh, so nice, honestly.
Liberate.
Yeah.
So much easier to promote.
Now, Russell, when you got the job to return as showrunner, what was the first thing you knew you had to write?
Well, Mrs. Flood, obviously. Come on, who is she? No, the first thing I wanted to do actually was in Britain to create the Whoniverse, to get all the classic old Doctor Who and the new Doctor Who onto the iPlayer together. Which had never existed, and it's easy for me to say it took a lot of lawyers a lot of time, 2 years, to do that, and I'm so pleased that exists.
Now, Millie, if you could play any other Doctor Who character, who would it be?
What?
If you could play any other Doctor Who character, like you could be like a Dalek or a Cyberman, or you could be like the Doctor.
I can't be Amy Pond. She plays that too well. What could I be? Oh God. What can I be? Cassandra. I'll be Cassandra. Yeah,
I think we would both be
So Cassandra.
We're Cassandra.
That's the deal.
So Cassandra.
Now, Ncuti, if you could cross over Doctor Who with any franchise, what would it be?
It's horrible, isn't it?
Barbie. Dr. Ken.
Could you imagine and you get like a Dr. Dream house, but it's the TARDIS and you can open it up and it's bigger on the inside and you can have like your Doctor action figure and play with it?
That would be very cool.
I mean,
There was a pink TARDIS. There was a pink TARDIS. And wasn't there one in a classic episode, the Happy Patrol?
There was a pink TARDIS, yes, the Happiness Patrol.
It's in my bag. Very excited about it, I'm sorry. Ooh, Russell, did the restoring effects of Sutek's defeat help fix the universe destroyed in the Flux, and could it bring back Gallifrey?
Oh, wow. Well, I think if you're going to bring back Gallifrey, you do a great big story about it, not like mentioned in brackets, in parentheses at the end of a previous story. Oh, by the way, we also did that. But I remember asking Chris Chibnall how much of the universe was destroyed, because it says 90%, doesn't it, was destroyed by the Flux, and then I just kind of thought to myself, well, 90% of infinity is infinity, so that's fine. I think we're managing okay.
Mathy-wathy, I guess. Now, Millie, did any of the former companions reach out to you when you were announced as the companion?
Oh, yes. As soon as I was announced, Jodie Whittaker and Mandip messaged me, and it was like just a really casual text from Jodie being like, "Love Jodie," and I'm like, "Jodie, who's Jodie?" Oh my God, Jodie! I was like, yeah, Jodie Whittaker's just messaged me, but I reached out to Karen Gillan. I slid into her DMs, and yeah, I was like, "You're really amazing," and yeah, she was my companion, so that was really cool to get in contact with her. But yeah, she follows me on Instagram. So.
All right, y'all. The TARDIS has a jukebox, which upgrade, amazing. What luxury item would each of you add to the TARDIS?
I wanted like a dress-up room. You know, when we went into our 60s outfits, I want to go into the room and see the dress-up room in there and see us put the wigs on, and all the stuff you've crafted.
Imagine
over.
thousands of years of
Yeah,
wardrobe
right?
inside this room.
I know.
That's my dream.
Yeah. I know.
I would really love that for you. I would love that for me too.
Okay.
If only I knew a showrunner of Doctor Who was sitting in this very room. Now, I don't know if we were able to acquire a microphone. Yes. Oh, sick.
She's off. Hey.
Anyone? Questions?
I was wondering what your favorite costumes were that you wore this season, because they are so amazing.
Your costume's amazing.
Yes.
Mine was Rogue, the outfit I wore in Rogue.
Same. I'm so sorry. That's so annoying. But we looked so hot in that episode. I loved it. Yeah, definitely Rogue. Yeah.
That's a Pete Kylie Minogue dancing outfit.
Yeah.
I should have brought my Sonic. I saw you.
Okay, this is for Russell. 2 words, Torchwood and Yanto. When?
You waited a long time, you have to wait a long time.
Hello. So, question for Russell. who had the red nails?
Ah. Well, I do know, but I'm not going to tell you. Imagine if I just told you now. I'll just tell you. Right, yes. No, hopefully you'll find out one day. No one you've seen. I think that's the point.
With the success of the Goblin song, are there plans for more musicals coming up?
There's a few more songs.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. You're not in there. There's a few more songs from... Yes. There are a few more songs. Very good.
Hi, I just wanted to know what Dungeons and Dragons characters would you play, classes would you play, each of you?
Bard, rogue. You have a bard, you have a rogue, you have a ranger, you have a bard sings, you have a rogue, you have a wizard, you can play a druid. Druid, you can control the plants.
Druid.
I'll be a wizard.
Wizard.
Wizard, great.
Well, I feel like Ruby would be a bard. Yeah. Well, I feel like you both would be bards, but you'd be also like very. I'm sorry, I'm gonna go down a rabbit.
Jonathan Groff, is he the next River Song?
I hope. I just wish he hadn't been so successful. When he lost that Tony, he might be dying to come back. We love him. It's an open door.
Yeah, we love
The
him.
nicest man in the world. Seriously.
Talented,
He's
nicest,
gorgeous.
incredible man.
Yeah. So,
Millie
no
and
promises, but fingers crossed.
Millie and Ncuti, what did you learn from your characters? Something you learned from playing your characters?
I think being more positive. I mean, she's so, like, we could be in the worst situation ever, and she's like, hey, it's all right. Well, what are we up to next? So yeah, I think being more of a glass half full girl for me.
His curiosity in others, and just his interest in his... Sometimes I just feel like I'm so self-involved. So like the Doctor's so selfless. And so I love that about him.
Those are all the questions that we are gonna have.
I wish we could answer them all.
I know, but we're all out of time in Wyoming. Well played, sir. I want to thank you to all of our guests for taking time out of your busy San Diego Comic-Con schedule. To you all for being here and coming along on this adventure. We are going to take a selfie with the entire crowd before you leave. And somebody back there take it from the other angle, because that'd be hilarious. I love that for me. And also, I need evidence. This really happened. So let's get this picture. But first, give a huge round of applause to Russell T Davies, Millie Gibson, and Ncuti Gatwa. I've been Krystina Arielle, and you've been listening to the official Doctor Who podcast. We'll see you next time.
Don't forget to click below to subscribe to the official Doctor Who YouTube channel.